Today, the countdown for PSLV C57 Aditya L1 mission is starting, and tomorrow noon time we will have the launch. That's at 11:50. Then it will take almost an hour for the satellite to reach the required location and inject. So the Aditya L1 satellite is for studying our sun, and it will take another 125 days to travel from Earth to reach the point where the satellite will look at sun, called L1 point. So I came here to pray to Changalamba Parameshwari for getting us the strength for making this launch again. Very important launch, successful, and thank all of you for being with us during Chandrayaan 3 launch as well as for the launch of Aditya L1. Wishing you all the very best.
ISRO is all set to launch its first solar mission with the historic takeoff of Aditya L1. After becoming the first nation to explore the lunar South Pole, India is now set to study the mysteries of the sun. The Polar Satellite Launch Vehicle, or PSLV C57 rocket, will carry the Aditya L1 spacecraft from the Satish Dhawan Space Center in Sriharikota at 11:50 in the morning on the 2nd of September.
PSLV is a trusted workhorse of ISRO, and it's going to be used now in the launching of Aditya L1. Aditya L1 has to find its place eventually at a point called L1 or Lagrange 1. Aditya L1 is going to be in an orbit and will be facing the sun all the time, and then take observations and pass them on to ground stations of ISRO. But apart from this, PSLV rocket has been used for most of the launches by ISRO. It is a trusted workhorse, as they call it, and its design goes back to 1968 when Incospar was wanting to develop its own satellite launch vehicle. So PSLV can take about 3200 kg in low Earth orbit and about 1400 kg in geostationary orbits.
The 44.4 meter tall rocket will propel Aditya L1 to a certain orbit and fall back to Earth. Aditya L1 will then travel for 125 days to reach a distance of 1.5 million kilometers from the Earth. The Sun is at a distance of about 150 million kilometers from Earth. The Aditya L1 Solar Observatory will travel to a Lagrange point between the Sun and the Earth. Discovered by J.L. Lagrange in 1772, the Lagrange points are balanced points in space, where gravitational forces from two orbiting masses cancel each other out. The first Lagrange point, or L1, is located roughly at 1% of the distance to the Sun, and that will be Aditya L1's new home.
This is a very unique machine because we are going to observe the solar corona at L1 point, and we earn from the solar radii of 1.05 solar radii, and it has the imaging channel and a spectroscopy channel which will observe simultaneously. We can see the occurrence of solar energetic events like coronal mass ejections, as well as through spectra we can find this dynamic and physical nature of the solar corona. And it is a very unique instrument that it has. We can get the data at a very high cadence of 1 image per minute.
Till date, NASA's Parker Solar Probe and the European Space Agency's Solar Orbiter have managed to reach distances beyond the Lagrange L1 point. Once it reaches L1, Aditya L1 will keep orbiting around it, as if the Lagrange point were an invisible planet. But L1 is an unstable orbit, and Aditya L1 must perform careful maneuvers at least once a month to stay in the correct orbit. This is ISRO's first attempt to study the Sun from such a close distance. The solar probe is programmed to relay information on the Sun's high-energy solar flares and magnetic field. Aditya L1 will observe the Sun's outermost layers, the chromosphere and the corona, and study the origin, composition and dynamics of solar winds that influence space weather.
एक तो हम ये यूनिकनेस है कि हम जो आउटर एटमॉस्फेयर की स्पेक्ट्रोस्कोपी है और इमेजिंग है वो साइमल्टेनियसली कर रहे हैं, एक्यूरेटली कर रहे हैं. तो जो वहाँ कोरोनल मास इजेक्शंस होते हैं, जो एनर्जेटिक फिनोमेना होती हैं, काफ़ी चार्ज पार्टिकल निकलती हैं, जो धरती के एटमॉस्फेयर को इफेक्ट करती हैं उनको एक्यूरेटली स्टडी कर पाएंगे और प्रॉब्ली विल बी एबल टू प्रेडिक्ट आल्सो कि वो उनका इफेक्ट धरती पर कब पहुंचेगा.
Aditya L1 is loaded with 7 temperature-sensitive instruments on the remote sensing payloads and the in-situ payloads. These instruments will explore the bursts of electromagnetic radiation emitted by the Sun, closely examining their impact on environmental conditions both on Earth and within the solar system.
Highly energetic particles coming from the direction of the Sun, and there are X-ray spectrometers. So many different institutions in this are participating, and we hope that Aditya L1 reaches its destination and is able to give results of the unprecedented kind.
One of the most crucial instruments is the Visible Emission Line Coronagraph. The VELC will send over 1,400 high-resolution photos to ISRO's ground stations every single day. These photos will be processed and analyzed to study the Sun's corona and the dynamics of coronal mass ejections.
This is called Visible Line Solar Coronagraph, abbreviated as VELC. This is a solar instrument which is going to L1 orbit, which will be launched tomorrow. And this instrument actually it will make occultation with the solar disk, and then it will enable us to see the corona in the visible channel as well as 3 spectroscopic channels. The main purpose of this thing, it will give you an eclipsed sun always, which you can't get naturally.
Aditya L1 will get an unobstructed view of the Sun that is never eclipsed by Earth. This deep space solar observatory is expected to collect and transmit data by next January. Data on the dynamics of solar weather, propagation of particle, and magnetic fields will be huge in predicting weather on Earth. Data generated from Aditya L1 solar observations will require rigorous testing and data management. Data collected by the spacecraft will be downloaded at the Indian Deep Space Network in Karnataka.
Aditya was planned for 2008 itself for going into a near Earth orbit. That means it is called LEO, they will say, very near, something like 800 kilometers around the Earth. It will go around the Earth and then keep looking at Sun and give data. Chandrayaan, of course, it has to go to Moon, and then first one was just going on Chandrayaan 1, Chandrayaan 2 was an attempted landing, which was not completed. Now the Chandrayaan 3, we have done it. Now this one is a part of, it is not 1 and 2 before. Probably this could have gone a little earlier also, one doesn't know. Depends upon what the various schedule, testing and everything, because so many payloads are there, so many things are there. So main thing is ISRO is having a plan for space exploration for quite some time, and more than 15 years.
The Aditya mission has been an ambitious endeavour since its inception in 2008. Over the course of nearly 15 years, ISRO has meticulously planned and prepared for this maiden solar mission. Nearly 300 scientists have worked under ISRO and the IIA to build instruments that enhance analytical capabilities of Aditya L1. As the countdown enters its final hours, the Aditya L1 mission stands poised to mark a significant milestone in India's space accomplishments.